Before we start this video, it's important to mention that I suffer from autism, and because of my mental disorder, I may not word things correctly or may say something wrong without realizing it, so please take that into consideration. If I do say something wrong, please tell me in a respectful manner. If you just insult me, then I'll have no idea what you're criticizing me for. Also, please don't assume that what I'm saying is out of bad intent or malice. Please be respectful in the comments as well. Thank you. Hello every Kumu. I know I said I wouldn't do drama commentary anymore, but since I've been feeling more mentally well, I have the confidence that I can handle subjects like this again. I'll only be covering drama/serious subjects occasionally, or only if I really need to give my personal input on things, which I will be doing in this video. I'll also be remaining as unbiased as possible despite my disliking towards the people whom publicized this doc and the information along with it. Also, to be clear, pretty much everyone involved in this situation are minors, CUPIDITE being 15 and Juny and Yummi being both 16. So please keep their maturity levels in mind since they're still teens. I myself am 17 and want to take this situation from a mature standpoint and give out proper facts. I will also be referring to CUPIDITE as CUPIDITE, of course, and Cupid in this video. I will also be using male pronouns on him since he's uncomfy with female pronouns. To start, I'll give a brief summary of what happened regarding CUPIDITE as well as my thoughts on the matter. First of all, I'll give a summary on what has happened recently, and I'll also be going over the doc that Juny made. So, CUPIDITE was getting backlash for making an OC wear a uniform associated with the Holocaust, if you know what I'm referring to. Yummi was the first person to publish this information in their second video about CUPIDITE. CUPIDITE responded to Yummi's video, saying that their family are victims of the Holocaust and that he has the right to joke about it. Now, I'm personally against Nazi jokes and jokes that are based around events that have harmed many people, but if you were affected by it, or if you have family that has been affected by it, and they allow you to joke about it around them, then I don't think it's really that big of a deal. What I'm saying is that if your friends or family allow you to joke about things like this, then I think it's fine, as long as you aren't hurting anyone else outside of those relationships with those jokes. While CUPIDITE does joke about the Holocaust, they still acknowledge all the horrible events that happened during that time period, which is important to note. It is also a common coping mechanism to joke about things that have traumatized you. Cupid has also stated that if you're uncomfortable with these jokes, they would stop. But if they have family or friends that allow them to joke about it with them personally, then it's not really any of your business. And Yummi, if you were really upset with these jokes, you should have talked with them in DMs and Cupid would have complied. You didn't have to make an almost hour-long video about something that could have been handled in private. Also, ironic enough, there is quite literally no Nazi symbol on the uniform. Instead, it's a peace sign. Cupid is not a Nazi for this. This is gonna be a big part for the rest of the video. I'll only be going over the important stuff in this doc, so some smaller things will probably not be mentioned or talked about. So, after Yummi made their second CUPIDITE video, Juny recently made a doc exposing Cupid of manipulating them and other stuff, like claiming abuse. I've read the entire doc, and a lot of it is quite biased against CUPIDITE. Not trying to defend CUPIDITE when I say this, but Juny, I know you don't like CUPIDITE, but if you're gonna make a call-out doc, you have to remain unbiased. Otherwise, people will just think you have a vendetta against him, which seems to be the case for Yummy too, but they don't want to admit it. Anyways, I'll be going over the doc and its entirety and discussing it. I'll also be providing my input and facts regarding some stuff in here. I am also mentioned in this doc for some reason, so I'll be going over that too once we get to it. So, the doc starts off with a short paragraph that reads, "Hi, I'm Juny. I don't give a fuck if you know me or not. My is Juny Draws on YouTube, and I was never planning on making this stupid-ass doc, but Daisy is just lying on my ass now, and I don't plan on treading lightly because she very literally accused me of lying about abuse. So, whatever. Don't bother me or message me about this doc. I'm only making this because I don't appreciate slander. I won't take it down, and all explanations should be here." From reading this paragraph, I can tell this doc was made from some strong emotions that Juny was having at this time, which is probably the worst time you could write a call-out doc. I understand that Juny wanted to give out all this information as soon as possible, but Juny should have taken the time to focus on their mental health and write the doc when they were in a much better mental state, 'cause it'll cause your doc to have bias and not be formatted the best, if you understand what I'm trying to say. When I first read this doc, it was really hard to comprehend what was even being addressed, so I'd take that advice for the future if you ever need to make another call-out doc. Please focus on your well-being first, so then you'll be in a much better state to call out someone. In this next part, Juny also states, "Edit. People keep complaining about me calling myself the R slur in this doc, so trigger warning for a person who can reclaim the slur using it against themselves. TLDR is Given Ant made a post about me, and I don't really care about that. Point being, CUPIDITE responded to the tweet with this, in reference to me." I also found the original tweet that Juny was talking about, which was this.
Wait, actually, sorry.
I'm honestly not surprised.
Off topic, somebody just said something in chat. Yeah, no, Goat Cato's stream was calling Yummy, the R slur, repeatedly. I think it was one of the mods, too.
Serious?
Yeah, no!
What? Yes.
A lot. A lot, and everybody was just like...
The problem I have with this statement is, how are you gonna criticize Goat for using the R slur when you yourself use it? I have no problems if you do use the word if you're, like, autistic or anything, but it just seems hypocritical to me when you bash Goat Cato for it when you use the word yourself. Plus, I don't know if Goat can reclaim it or anything, but I don't want to assume. But, Juny, I just wouldn't say that when you said it yourself, 'cause it'll make people think you're a hypocrite. Also, not to mention, Yummy has also insulted people with the R slur, but for some reason Juny doesn't get mad when their partner does it. I really just don't get the logic here. Also, for anyone wondering, this was how Cupid responded to the tweet. Juny also adds on to this, saying, "So I just want to make this really clear, this isn't some dumbass call-out doc, but there was so many stupid screenshots, I had nowhere else to put them. Also, I don't give a fuck if it's unorganized, it's not meant to be aesthetic." Context is, me and Daisy had been friends for a bit leading up to my live stream recently. After that, Cupid blocked me, blah blah blah, now accusing me of lying about abuse in reference to my boyfriend Yummy Cactus. I want to make some shit very clear here. I considered Daisy one of my close friends. I trusted them with personal information in terms of my mental health and relationship that he swore he'd never share, just to plaster it on Twitter. And I feel really stupid for ever trusting you with shit about me or Yummy, and I feel even worse because for a while I was helping you and lying to my boyfriend for info because you made me think it was okay, and that he was abusing me emotionally, and that you were the only person I could trust. You would just lie to me about shit he was doing, and yes, I admit I'm an R word for believing you. Juny, basically this doc is a call-out doc if you're gonna expose someone's behaviors and actions. And I think you should care if it's organized, because it'll make it easier for readers to understand what's happening, which is a problem I had while reading this. Just to add, other people have told me they had trouble reading this doc too. I really think you should have made this doc when you were in a better mental state, or could have edited it when you were. Also, making it formatted correctly isn't making it aesthetic either. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Here's some screenshots that were provided along with the allegation that Cupid was lying about Yummy. I'll be presenting these on screen, so feel free to pause if you want to read these. Juny also adds, Cupidite telling me about how my boyfriend was supposedly friends with Daisy's groomer Prim, a known pedophile. This is something that was brought up a lot to me, and I was encouraged to not say anything to him about it. Newsflash, Yummy is not friends with Prim. I'm just insanely gullible, apparently. And also telling me that my boyfriend was making fun of you for being R-worded and groomed, even though he never did. I admit I was stupid and should have asked him myself and should have known it wasn't true, but I really just trusted Cupid a lot and I feel so stupid. So, from what I've gathered from Cupidite's video, Cupid says that Yummy asked Prim to get their side of the story, hence why they said Yummy was working with them. While I don't think Yummy and Prim are friends, I don't think Yummy should have contacted Prim when they're a known pedophile, since Yummy is literally 16. I think that was a very dangerous situation Yummy was putting themselves in, and you shouldn't have to contact a pedo in order to get their story as a minor. Please let the adults handle that. I don't see many people pointing out how dangerous this is. I also can't really find any evidence that states that Yummy actually did make fun of Cupid for being R-worded and groomed, so I can't really say anything on that front. But this next part of the doc will get into the manipulation accusations Juny has made against Cupid, as well as the abuse accusations. I'll be showing the screenshots associated with this on screen now, so feel free to pause. Juny also says, I feel gross posting this shit, but Daisy's made it necessary, so whatever. I opened up to Daisy about my relationship issues because he was my friend and I trusted him. And after speaking to you, it just made me feel so paranoid about Yummy, and you were the one who leaned into the idea of him abusing me. Yes, I admit he's distant sometimes, and yeah, but that's business between me and him. And I shared it with you because I was desperate for advice. Now, before I say what I'm gonna say in a minute, I would just like to make it clear that I will always believe an abuse victim once they come out, unless there is actual evidence that the abuse and the story behind it was faked. 'Cause unfortunately, there's a lot of disgusting people out there that will fake being abused just to get revenge on someone or make people feel bad for them. I also don't like to fake claim anyone else's abuse unless it's proven to be faked. But from reading all of this, Cupid came from a genuine place of concern and worry. Juny has been stating that this is manipulation and abuse. Now, I don't know if Juny has ever been abused before in the past, which I will not assume out of respect, but I am someone who's been through all kinds of abuse from an ex I used to be with a few years ago. He would manipulate me, gaslight me, and so much more for 3 whole years. This would include sexual, mental, and physical abuse. Now, I get that everyone's abuse stories are different, but I'm saying this because I know what abuse is, and I know what manipulation is, and as a victim, I feel I can say this isn't abuse nor manipulation. Cupid was genuinely worried for you when you told them about your problems with Yummy. I mean, saying that you feel like shit around Yummy is worrying, which is why Cupid wanted to help you. Cupid also leaned into this heavily because they were trying to help you and get you to talk to them about what was going on since they were concerned, as anyone else would be. But really, this isn't manipulation or abuse on Cupid's end, and I'm not sure where you even got that from. Mislabeling this as abuse, and as a victim myself, is incredibly disrespectful. Cupid was never out to get you or manipulate you. They just wanted to help. Also, you can't just claim someone is manipulating you just based on their vibes. That's not how it works. Next thing mentioned in this doc is about how Cupid enabled Slimed Alien in their server, which was already cleared up by Cupid in their video. Cupid has apologized for this and is now on good terms with Shister, who was a victim of slime. I don't think I need to say anything more on that since it's been over with. But, Shister, if you're watching this, I do hope you're okay now. Next thing talked about in this doc is that CUPIDITE made a post about how Juny and Yummy are condoning communist ideals. And if you don't know what I'm referring to when I mean communist ideals, here's a quick definition right here. I originally thought this was very weird until Glass Raven helped me understand some things. In my personal beliefs, I do think joking about communism is wrong since many people have been harmed by it, but it definitely isn't the same as the Holocaust. Both are extremely different events. Although I won't let my bias take handle of the situation, and if you joke about it, that's out of my control. This is just my personal opinion on it. Also, Juny and Yummy have stated they're against communism, so they aren't actually supporting communist ideologies. Originally, I thought this was hypocrisy since Cupid joked about Nazism, but now I understand how these two events aren't really similar at all. Now, here we get into the part where Juny mentions me for some reason. Edit. I've seen a few people get on my ass for using the R slur in some screenshots and using this to defend Daisy. I can more than reclaim the R slur. I use it publicly. I called my boyfriend in the screenshots. If you care more about slur discourse in comparison to such a serious issue, or to downplay my feelings or demonize me, you are nothing but a performative activist. This is targeted towards a few people in my comments, and yes, this is targeted towards Chaotix, or whatever their name is. They have been in heavy defense of Daisy for ages, and I don't care if they continue to support him, because Chaotix is also just weird for different reasons. Point being, if you care more about the usage of the R slur to refer to my boyfriend in the screenshots, a slur I can reclaim and say, then just shut up, seriously. I can't believe this is the argument being used to debunk this doc when there is no debunking to do. Also, in case it wasn't obvious, I never wanted this to be public. I don't like that I have to make this public, but I will not tolerate slander to my character, especially with a person who has a community that just blindly listens to him. Especially when he's tweeting my DMs. Hello? Can I not defend myself? So, to respond to this, I genuinely don't care if you use the R slur if you're autistic. Hell, I'm autistic as well. I just think using the word in a serious call-out doc is not very professional. And I know why you put it in here, because you were emotional while you were writing this at the time. Also, you and Yummy tend to use the R slur only to insult people, which isn't reclaiming the word, by the way. This isn't my biggest concern of the doc, though. This was just a small issue I had with it. Just because I said it a few times doesn't mean that's all I care about in the doc. What logic is that? Also, if I'm not the only one saying this, why am I specifically being targeted? I've also stated that I don't defend Cupid, since there are certainly many things you can criticize him for. Hell, I don't like them saying the R slur either or joking about Nazi stuff, but that's out of my control. Defending someone isn't the same as understanding someone. And Juny, I don't know why it was relevant to mention that I've done weird stuff, according to you, when all of my past dramas have been solved, done and dusted, so I don't know what the point of mentioning that was. It was probably just to make me look worse in the eyes of you and your fans, which is not necessary at all. People mentioning my past dramas that have been done and aren't relevant anymore has led to me getting harassment, so you aren't helping anything. And no one is saying you can't defend yourself or that the usage of the R slur is used to debunk the doc. What are we on about? Also, if you never wanted this to be public, why did you share this on your socials then? Plus, you've also told people to spread this around wherever you can, so... Saying that you never wanted this to be public, but then publicizing it is, contradictory. One thing I want to point out before this video concludes is that I've noticed that Juny has either been deleting or hiding comments from the post they made where they publicized their doc. One of these people being Cable Gore, who had genuine criticisms towards the doc and how it was handled. They have also deleted comments that agreed with Cable Gore. Juny, the willingness to remove criticism when you talk about how important it is to take accountability and critique really shows you don't care about all that, like you want to be in the right and that no one else can say anything about it or else you'll silence them. I just think that's crazy. Also, I was like the first one to notice that Juny was doing this and I brought it to some people's attention. Deleting and hiding genuine criticisms when you say, "Oh, it's important to take criticism," is crazy. People are going to notice when you're deleting and hiding comments that give you genuine criticism. I feel like you're quite literally just silencing people because you want to be in the right. You can't just delete these comments and walk off like nothing happened. People will know you're doing this. I'm going to be honest. This situation would have been handled so much better if it was kept private in DMs or in a group chat. I get that Juny is upset at Cupid, but we should have thought more logically and maturely about this. I know that's asking a lot from teenagers who don't really know how to handle their emotions online, but I hope they can look back at this and see why it wasn't necessary at all. Cupid should also have space to grow and change from what they've done wrong, and I really don't think Juny and Yummy are helping that in any way. Juny and Yummy also really need some time to reflect on themselves as well and grow. Every minor involved in this should have some space to change. But this whole situation was just a mess, and I feel at this point people are just picking at straws to make Cupid seem like this evil monster that will eat your family. It's ridiculous. But yeah, this was my input on the situation, and I hope you can consider my criticisms, and, I hope this cleared up some things. Bye, my little Kumus. Editing chaos here. So while I was making this video, CUPIDITE, released a new response regarding the doc and everything else, and I highly recommend checking it out. Okay, goodbye for real now.